Hi everyone, welcome back to the Excavation of Hob's Barrow. Here we are, Thomasina. Just been talking to Father Roach. So we had that vision last night about Hob the Goblin, who lives in the Barrow apparently, so folklore will tell you. And he said proof would come that our father had dug the Barrow 25 years ago. In that, we got a journal, which we don't understand, and a stone attached to it, which has got a picture of a cockerel, or rooster, and some initials underneath. The task for today is A, convince the farmer to allow us permission to dig the barrow, B, to still try and search for Leonard Shoulder, the person who invited us to the village in the first place, and C, the owner of the journal and the stone. You know, what do they mean? And that is the third kind of piece of jigsaw puzzle that we've got to put in place. So, thank you, Father Roach. We'll leave you be. I wonder if Leonard knows anything. It's usually the ones who don't give any... Actually, let's go and see if Mr. Tibbet is at the railway station. We had a good chat with him last night. Oh, he's not. Attention, Bewlay station is closed for the time being due to track damage between Bewlay and Bakewell. We apologise for any inconvenience called Midland Railway. Ah, okay. So he's probably down the pub for the next 2 days, or a few days, while that's been repaired. Let's head out onto the moor then. Ah, there is Mr. Tibbet himself.
Good morning, Arthur.
You look a bit addled. Are you feeling all right?
I am not used to drinking as much as we did.
Aye, my head is pounding.
To tell you the truth, Arthur, I've had a somewhat puzzling morning.
Oh?
Someone slipped this journal under the door of my room.
Whose journal is it?
I have no idea. The text refers to some sort of excavation.
Stanley must be playing tricks on you.
He swore his innocence. I thought perhaps you might have done it?
No, it wasn't me. That's for certain. Somehow I have a clear memory of last night.
Okay. The railway station's closed then.
I see the railway station is closed. What happened?
The line is down. Track damage between Bewlay and Bakewell. No trains for a day or more.
Does that mean I'm stranded here?
For the time being, Thomasina.
Capital.
About last night.
I had a splendid time last night.
Aye, I even remember most of it this time. Thanks for listening to me going on. I really appreciate it.
The feeling is mutual. Thank you too, Arthur.
So any ideas about this journal?
I wonder who left me this journal then.
Mind if I take a closer look?
Please, go ahead.
The writings of a madman.
I don't disagree. Do the sketches mean anything to you?
No, not at all. But they turn me stomach. You might want to show this to Mother Mildred.
Who's Mother Mildred?
Who is Mother Mildred?
Some think her a witch.
A witch?
Ah, the wise woman.
Aye. She might be able to help you with the symbols.
Where can I find her?
She lives alone in a little cottage within Herne Wood here. You shouldn't have too much trouble finding her.
Thanks, Arthur.
You're welcome.
Mother Mildred.
Why do people think Mother Mildred is a witch? Just because a woman lives alone in the woods doesn't mean she flies about on a broomstick.
There's more to it than that. They say she lays with demons.
Who are
What?
they?
Yeah.
Oh, you know, local folk.
Hogwash.
Some also go to her for potions and spells.
Spells? Come now, Arthur.
Truth be told, she's a nice old lady. I sometimes see her foraging in the brambles around here.
Will she burn at the stake sometime soon?
You might think us backward in Bewlay, Thomasina, but we're not that backward.
Sorry, Arthur. I only meant to tease.
What about this stone?
What do you make of this stone?
It's a good shape for skimming across water.
Well, yeah.
What is it?
I'm not sure. It was strapped to the cover of the journal.
How mysterious.
Goodbye.
Ta-ra!
Right, so let's go and see Mother Mildred then. And this is obviously the path. Oh, going back, flashback. Playing with a little doll.
Thomasina, dear, come say goodbye to your father. Come on now, don't make him wait.
I don't want to.
Oh, fallen out with Dad, have we?
Aren't you going to miss me?
I hate you, Daddy.
Those are strong words for such a little lady.
I want to come with you.
We've been through this, little bird. You can't come with me this time, but we'll go to Seaborough next month. I promise. Oh, what a dig that shall be.
I hate you.
Well, I love you. See you soon, little bird.
So is that when he was off to Hob's Barrow, maybe? Do we feel guilty because that was our last, even though we were a child, and obviously when children are like that, they're just being children. Right, so down here is when they were cutting and clearing the woodland, weren't they? So we couldn't. It's a resin. It's all sticky.
The resin has set somewhat. It's firmly gripped to the stump.
We got a chisel.
I've collected some waxy resin.
Right. Okay. I thought that would be for glue. Oh, I didn't mean to go that way, sorry. Anything else of note? No? Come. Ah, here we are, Mother Mildred.
Please, forgive my intrusion. Are you Mother Mildred?
Some call me that. I prefer Mildred Walker, given as that's my name.
Apologies. Thomasina Bateman. I think we met at Bewlay Station.
I take it Panswick's men have cleared off. Good riddance. Those ruffians would cut their own noses off if he asked them to. I recognised you the moment I laid eyes on you at the station.
I beg your pardon?
Oh, yeah, it's quite a striking family resemblance. You have your father's eyes, Miss Bateman.
You knew my father?
Such piercing blue eyes he had. What a handsome young man. William.
He was here, in Bewlay.
Oh, yes. A long time ago, mind. 25 years by my reckoning. But I'll never forget those eyes.
Okay. So, old Mildred's got a bit of a thing for our father.
Why was my father in Bewlay?
You were helping Samuel Bryden excavate Hob's Barrow.
You
Yeah.
must be jesting.
Do I look like I'm jesting?
We saw the pattern and called that early.
How did you come to meet my father?
Oh.
One might say I have a reputation in these parts.
Oh.
Folks from all around come to me for help with their ailments.
Okay, phew.
Wood is abundant with flora that, if mixed correctly, will cure almost any ill. Your father must have caught wind of this, as one day he came to me, asking for a cure.
A cure for what?
Your mother was with child, and she was suffering the most terrible nausea.
Adam.
I made something to help her.
Oh.
The journal. This was entered in the journal. It belongs to my father.
What journal?
This journal.
Take a look at this. A passage recalls meeting a local wise woman to seek a tincture for his beloved's nausea gravidarum.
Tincture.
Aye, that's me. I made the tincture for him.
This is incredible.
You don't recognise your own father's handwriting?
It's been so many years since I've seen it.
Oh. Well, that's interesting then, isn't it? Tincture, I've never heard of that word before. Do you recognise this stone then?
What do you make of this stone?
I-A-W. I haven't a clue. Perhaps it's an old folk trinket, or a talisman of some kind. The moors are steeped in folklore.
Okay. Tell me about the excavation he was on.
What can you tell me about the excavation?
Well, not much. I only met your father twice. The last time he asked me if I knew anything about binding magic.
Binding magic.
He said he needed it for the excavation.
Ooh.
Hogwash. My father is a man of logic and reason. Why would he be asking about such nonsense?
Perhaps you don't know him as well as you think you do.
Maybe.
Anyway, I know nothing of magic and told him so. He seemed disappointed. I never saw him again, but I understand the excavation went ahead. Samuel Bryden hanged himself not long after. Reason enough for you to stay well clear of that place.
Okay. What happened after the excavation?
You never saw my father again after the excavation?
No, I always assumed he just went home.
Who excavated Hobbs Barrow alongside Samuel Bryden and my father?
From memory, it were just the two of them.
Okay, so no Leonard Shoulder then. What is binding magic?
What do you think my father meant by binding magic?
I've no idea. He didn't explain more, and I didn't wish to pry.
This just doesn't sound like my father at all.
You'll have to ask him yourself.
I'm afraid my father has been incapacitated since I was a child. He cannot speak nor move.
Terrible. Oh, I'm sorry.
You said that the flora here could cure almost any ill.
Almost, my dear. But your father's affliction sounds beyond my abilities.
Have you heard of a goblin that lives in the Barrow, which we call Hob?
The landlord of the Plough and Furrow told me about a folk tale associated with Hobbs Barrow. Something about a goblin. Are you familiar with it?
No doubt there is such a tale. Name any beastie you can think of, and someone round here will have a story about it.
My thoughts precisely.
Was there a third gunman on the grassy knoll?
Charles Bryden mentioned there was a third man involved in the excavation.
Is that so? Well, you best ask him about it. He knows more than I do.
Okay, was it Leonard Shoulder?
Can you tell me anything about Leonard Shoulder?
I know of him, as is the nature of such a small town. I also know he invited you here.
Little escapes you, Miss Walker.
So they say. My path rarely crosses with his. Let's put it that way. But he's a nice enough fellow.
I see.
What about Panswick?
Do you know Lord Panswick?
I know his labourers make a mess of these woods, the brutes. The man himself hasn't graced me with his presence.
You've never met him?
Not since he were a wee lad. A maid brought him to me with a sore stomach. It were all the rich food they were feeding him, nowt more.
Thank you for your help, Miss Walker.
Let's have a look at the berries.
What are those berries you're picking?
An ancient breed, no good for eating. However, they do have some medicinal qualities.
I see.
Can we go in?
I shouldn't enter uninvited.
No, I suppose not. Okay, well thank you, Mildred.
Miss Bateman,
Oh, yes?
Yes.
remember what I told you when we first met? You're better off waiting for the next train back to the city.
Why?
Something terrible happened to Samuel Bryden in that barrow. Whatever they found down there, I'd wager it got to your father too. Tell me you won't disturb Hobbs Barrow.
I can't make that promise, Mildred.
Can't say I didn't warn you. There is something unnatural about that place.
We must seek to understand the world by rational means, Miss Walker. One cannot abandon reason.
But there's always the unexplained. Oh, another flashback.
Thomasina! Thomasina, come here this instant.
I'm playing with Josephine.
She can wait. This is very important.
Okay. Oh, this
What
is
is
Mother.
it, Mummy?
It's your father.
Daddy's home?
No, my dear. I must go to Bakewell with haste. Miss Bowes will look after you whilst I'm gone. Is that clear?
Where's Daddy?
He's had an accident.
What happened?
He's come off his horse.
Silly Daddy. Will he be all right?
Of course he will be fine. Your father is as strong as an ox, but I need to go collect him, all right?
Can't I come too?
No, dear. Miss Bowes will look after you.
But I want to come.
Go pick up your dolls, then come inside, all right?
Yes, Mummy.
So, she's rubbing her stomach then, and obviously the Mildred Walker advised that her father had gone to her to get an ailment for morning
Josephine,
sickness or
it's
something,
time to go
wasn't it?
inside
So,
now.
and she mentioned Adam. So, did she have a brother who either wasn't born or born but died early?
Where did Mummy go?
So that was it then. That was the moment we found out. Oh,
I helped him then, and I can help him again.
how can Hob help him again? Oh, here's Arthur.
Arthur, you won't believe it. The journal belongs to my father. He was here in Bewlay. Arthur? Hello?
Arthur?
Oh, sorry. I'm trying to remember something.
What is it?
I'm not sure. Something in the woods. It will come back to me. You say your father were in Bewlay?
Yes, Mildred said that he helped Samuel Bryden excavate Hob's Barrow 25 years ago.
Well, I'll be. Let's talk about it tonight at the plough.
Arthur's concerning me now. Tell Arthur about my dream. Perhaps I could hear his perspective on. Leave him be. We'll talk
That's
later.
fine, Arthur. We'll talk later. I hope you piece together your memories.
Yeah, he's clearly, maybe he's remembering his mum or something more sinister, perhaps. Let's head out onto the moor. See if, Shoulder's there. Oh, hello. Is this Panswick by any chance?
Hello, dear.
Good day. I believe we've met.
Miss Thomasina Bateman, the famous antiquarian.
My reputation precedes me.
I can assure you it does.
Oh.
And you are?
James.
Tell me about yourself, James.
Are you a painter?
You see this beck before you. Look at the water. See how it tumbles and falls. I seek one spot on which my eyes can rest, be it a stone or a small corner of the current. I meet it with my gaze, and out of the tumbling and falling, a new land rises. I see a new world.
You certainly have the eloquence of an artist.
Are you painting the sublime?
What are you painting?
A new world.
Quite the ambition.
Indeed, my ambition knows no bounds.
Can I see it?
Not yet. It's not finished. Such a world is not complete without you in it.
Ooh,
You
you
flatter me,
flatterer.
James.
Nonsense. Say you'll let me paint you.
Paint me like one of your French girls. Why not?
Why not?
Magnificent. You shall be the shining star of my new world.
I don't really have the time now, though. Perhaps later?
Don't fret, my dear. When the time comes, I shall call on thee.
Capital.
Do you know anything about this stone?
What do you make of this stone?
It looks antique. You might want to keep a hold of it.
Know anything about Hob's Barrow?
Do you know of Hob's Barrow?
I'd like to know more about you, Thomasina. What time do you like to rise in the morning? How do you like your tea? What makes you happy?
A little flirting doesn't help. Yeah, let's go for a little flirting. You know, we can always use our female charms to try and get a little bit more information.
Well, I like to rise early and watch the sunrise.
With your husband, I'm sure.
No, I'm currently unentangled.
Such a view should be shared with at least a lover.
Do you deem yourself fit for this position?
Indubitably.
Oh.
But do go on. How do you like your tea?
Hot, with just a splash of milk.
No sugar, of course.
No sugar.
It rots the teeth. Your smile is as dazzling as the Himalayan snow.
Oh, James.
And finally, what makes you happy?
Spending time with my father.
I should like to meet him.
Perhaps you will. And you, James? I propose the same queries to you.
All in good time. My truths will surround you in good time.
Do you know any whereabouts of Leonard's Shoulder?
Do you know Leonard Shoulder?
A man of Bewlay?
Yes.
I care not for the men of Bewlay.
Oh,
Only for the visitors.
interesting. Lord Panswick?
What do you know of Lord Panswick?
A fine gentleman. Now that is someone who commands respect.
Yeah, so that's him
Do you
then.
know him personally?
No, I don't think anyone can really claim that.
Oh, maybe not.
But what a tiring subject. Shall we discuss something a little more exciting?
Goodbye.
See you soon, my dear.
Goodbye. That's my exit. Bye. That's that way then. Must be this way to the farm and... Oh, the Reverend was in here, wasn't he? Doing some scripture talks with some people. Let's head in and see if there's... Oh, he's not here.
I've no time for such things.
Okay. Well, the flowers look a bit...
The flowers have long since dried out. I don't want them.
Okay, let's head out then. Said he was doing some scripture reading with some of the new congregation or something, wasn't it? So let's head out onto the moor then. Oh, hello.
Hello?
Little hermit girl. Let's go and chase the hermit girl because it's obviously what we were meant to do. Oh, it's
Excuse
Margaret's
me,
lookout.
sir.
Yes?
Did you see a young girl with blonde hair pass by here?
No, lass. There you are. Are you Thomasina Bateman?
Are you Leonard? Tell the truth, yeah.
That's my name.
How marvellous. It's me, Leonard Shoulder.
Yes.
Heavens! I'd given up on finding you.
Please take a seat, Miss Bateman. We have much to discuss.
We do. So this is Margaret's lookout, isn't it? Arthur's mother's bench.
You've proven to be quite the enigma, Mr. Shoulder.
I'm mortified. I offer you 1,000 apologies. You see, I've been bound to my bed these past few days with a terrible fever.
How dreadful. I take it you're feeling better now?
Aye. I were on me way to find you when I stopped here to catch me breath. I've not much go in me these days.
I'm sorry to hear that.
I were worried you'd have given up on me and left town.
I had no idea what had become of you, Mr. Shoulder. I spent a good amount of time pounding on your front door.
I'm embarrassed. I really am. I've been doing my best to sleep through the fever. I am so very sorry. Please accept my apology, Miss Bateman.
Fine, Mr. Shoulder. I've come all this way. Let us speak of the business at hand.
Marvellous.
However,
Just learned that my father
we
was part
did
of a
see him
previous
leaving the
excavation of
alley
Hobb's
on the
Barrows
first
some
night.
25 years ago. Why didn't you mention this in your letter?
What? Where did you hear that?
I have my means.
I swear, Miss Bateman, I had no idea.
I take it you will also deny delivering me my father's journal?
I'm confused. What journal?
My father's journal was slipped under my door at the Plough and Furrow. It wasn't you who did this.
I've been bound to me bed, lass. What an extraordinary coincidence. You are following in your father's footsteps.
It would seem so, Mr. Shoulder.
The white glove that we found in the alley. You're something else, Mr. Shoulder. Not quite sure what yet, but let's go through this and try and deduct a little bit more.
Why did you invite me to excavate Hobb's Barrow?
I've always been curious about the colourful folklore surrounding the place. My father told me all sorts of stories about it when I were a wee fellow. Stories that some folk around here take a little too seriously, especially after those lads entered the Barrow a while back.
His letters are still there.
How did you know about me?
I saw your interview in the Bakewell Times. A young lady travelling about the land, digging up barrows. Perfect for the job.
But why do you wish to excavate the Barrow?
I want to see what those lads found in there. My curiosity has grown over the years. Now it is time for the mystery to be solved.
I must say I am rather eager to find out what's in there myself.
What can you tell me about Hob's Barrow then?
I've managed to find Hob's Barrow, but Mr. Bryden is yet to give me permission to excavate.
Is that so? Keep trying. You'll relent eventually.
Perhaps you could have a word with him.
Oh, no. A lovely young lass such as yourself has a better chance of changing his mind than a shaky old goat like me.
You told me in your letter there would be no issue gaining access to the Barrow.
I didn't foresee any when I wrote to you. I'm sorry this has been more complicated than anticipated. Don't give up yet, Miss Bateman. Keep trying with Mr. Bryden.
Did you know my father?
I don't believe so. What's his name?
William Bateman. He was in Bewlay for at least a few days, from my understanding.
I'm sorry, lass. The name doesn't ring a bell.
Are you sure you had no idea of my father's involvement in the previous excavation?
I'm quite sure. A most fascinating coincidence, but nothing more than that.
I'm starting to wonder if it's more than mere coincidence, Mr. Shoulder.
Miss Bateman, I did not take you for a credulous individual.
I'm none of the sort.
Tell me about the previous excavation then.
What can you tell me about the previous excavation of Hob's Barrow?
Oh, it were 25 years ago, or thereabout. Back then, Bewlay were undergoing a period of great strife. Samuel Bryden hadn't harvested a single crop for 2 seasons.
Oh.
Even Hernwood was sick. Berries went to rot almost as quickly as they grew.
Interesting.
Folks started to believe the ground were blighted. Disease spread through the livestock too. People were going hungry, a panic set in.
That sounds terrible.
Aye, but I managed to keep myself fed. These things happen in nature, but the blame for it all fell on Hob's Barrow. It were long said that a goblin made his home there. A rumour took root that the goblin were not best pleased with the villagers. In revenge for some unperceived slight, the goblin placed a curse on the soil itself. The villagers believed that ridding the barrow of its lodger would put an end to it all.
Hogwash. My father would have paid no heed to such tales.
Whether it were his intent to join the excavation when coming here, I do not know. But whatever it were that Samuel Bryden and those lads did inside that barrow, people say it did the trick. The crops started to grow back, and health returned to the livestock. Bewlay were no longer in the grip of dark forces. You must understand, folk here are a superstitious lot. They don't want you disturbing whatever it were those lads did. As far as the villagers are concerned, the problem were fixed. The thought of another excavation must be conjuring panic that you'll undo whatever it were they did.
This does explain a lot.
And
It does.
it's also why I'd venture nobody around here wants you to touch the place.
Except for you.
I want to know what's there.
Surely you don't believe these tales of goblins and
But what about
curses
this?
to be true?
Well,
Not at all.
the curse, but both of them have
However,
been struck
I
down by some
suspect
ailment.
Those lads did find something in the barrow. But did it have any connection to failing crops and dying livestock? No. I can assure you there's nothing to fear. Coincidence reigns supreme.
So what do you think they found?
That is for us to discover, Miss Bateman.
Who
Interesting.
was the third man who joined my father and Mr. Bryden on the excavation?
I'm afraid I don't know. Although I'd heard about the excavation and I were intrigued by it, I mostly stayed at home during that time. The atmosphere in the village was rather too tense for me liking. And besides, the excavation were undertaken with an air of mystery about it.
Let's explore the folklore.
Tell me more of this folklore you mention.
It is said that Hob's Barrow is home to a goblin. Everyone in Bewlay has some version or another of this story. But the version my father told me as a child described the barrow as a thin place. The goblin were deemed to be the guardian of this so-called thin place.
Tell me about the goblin.
Tell me more about this goblin.
Some said he were a mischievous little mite, snatching newborn lambs and smashing windows with pebbles. Others said he were friendly, there to lend a helping hand in times of strife. The latter of which makes it all the more surprising as to why the previous excavation took place. My father's stories put the goblin in the mischievous category. Saxnot, he called the creature. I recall one such anecdote, that Saxnot entered Bewlay and ordered a pair of boots to be made by the cobbler. However, when collecting them, he insisted on paying for them with a bag of sow's teeth. The cobbler was so scared of angering the goblin that he accepted.
A colourful tale indeed, Mr. Shoulder. Has any explanation been offered for why this Saxnot cursed the soil?
Your guess is as good as mine, lass.
The thin place.
What is a thin place?
A place where one can walk between worlds.
Oh.
Where the flesh meets the spirit world. Just superstition, of course, as you well know.
Interesting, though. Let's tell him about the dream that we had.
I had a peculiar dream last night. I met a creature at Hob's Barrow. I suppose you might say it was a goblin. It told me it had saved my father from trouble inside Hob's Barrow. I'll admit the coincidence of this is somewhat astounding.
A remarkable coincidence, but nothing more than that.
But there is still one thing that puzzles me. The goblin told me proof of its claims would await me in the morning. Surely enough, I awoke to find that my father's journal had appeared in my room.
Very queer indeed.
Mr. Shoulder, you invited me here, to a town I'd never heard of, only for me to discover that my own father was here 25 years before. And not only that, but that he was also embroiled in some sort of superstitious hysteria which goes against everything he ever taught me. Something is wrong here. This must be more than mere coincidence.
It's strange, I'll give you that. But please remember who you are, Miss Bateman.
He's an interesting one, isn't it, Leonard? He seems rational at most points, but for his interest just to be of curiosity seems a little bit strange. It almost feels, I'm getting vibes, this is going to sound funny, but Pirates of the Caribbean, you know, with the blood oath that have to be paid on the cursed Aztec gold. I'm wondering if that is why Thomasina has been summoned here. There's something that she must do which will maybe unlock her father's illness. Or something along those lines. I've a funny feeling Leonard might have been the third man digging, but he doesn't want to tell us about it at the moment. But he knows there's something. Maybe he made a deal with the goblin, and then in 25 years or 30 years, he had a time scale which he had to do something. I don't know. I'm just, my head's going wild at the moment. Let's continue and see if there's any further information. Let's ask him about the journal.
This is my father's journal.
Incredible. Can I look inside?
You may.
Look at these drawings. Wonder what it all means.
You and I both. It all feels very out of character for my father.
I'm sure you'll find the answers beneath the soil, Miss Bateman.
The stone?
What do you make of this strange stone?
A carving of a cockerel?
Yes, it was strapped to my father's journal. Do you think it could have something to do with the previous excavation?
Possibly, though I'm not aware of the motif having any meaning around these parts.
Is this your glove?
I've been looking all over for that. Where did you find it?
In the alley behind the ploughed furrow on the night of my arrival. Were you there?
As I say, I've been bedbound for several days, Miss Bateman.
How odd.
Can I please have it back?
Here.
Thank you.
He's a suspicious character, isn't he?
We're peas of the same pod, Miss Bateman. I knew you wouldn't be frightened by a few old stories. It will be interesting to see what those lads found in there.
Certainly.
Yes.
Thank you so very much for responding to my letter and for coming here. We have some great discoveries to make, you and I.
I sincerely hope so.
And a chance to follow in your father's footsteps. Right, time for me to shift these old bones. I'm to take me a spot of the plough and furrow. I'll be there all night should you need me assistance.
Thank you, Mr. Shoulder.
I'm sorry again for giving you the runaround. I promise I am not beyond redemption. I won't let you down again. See you soon.
I was starting to wonder if Mr. Shoulder even existed.
Interesting. So this is
Margaret's Lookout.
Yeah, so this is Arthur's mum.
Dedicated to Arthur's mother.
Right. So we've uncovered one mystery. Who Leonard Shoulder was. We found him, we've talked to him, we've got his side of the story. I'm not convinced. There's more to him and his tales than there appears and that he's letting on. So yeah, we will no doubt meet him in the pub tonight and we'll ask him more. But first I think we need to go and or maybe go back to the farm to see if we can get permission to excavate. But we'll do that next time. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're enjoying the excavation of Hob's Barrow. It's getting more and more intriguing. Be sure you don't miss out on the next part of the adventure. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.